Thank you so much for being here with us, Dr. Omar.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you, and especially with your line of work, being a specialist, senior specialist at the Ministry of Education and Educational Development. I'm sure you have seen a lot of changes, a lot of practices of teaching evolving over time, and I think the biggest one nowadays is EdTech, right? So, how have you seen policies change, and what about the data protection of students when it comes to EdTech? How is that seen, considered in this industry?
Looking to that perspective, the education system in general is always try to embrace and integrate whatever would bring benefits for students.
Right.
And but at the same time, we think of, does that really help? Does that really provide the safest sources of information? The safest ways of practicing and approaching, looking for knowledge, and protecting students in different aspects. So that goes hand in hand with the curriculum adaptation and education that takes place in the ministry as the overall umbrella, and the other entities, drive in the same thing. So from that point, yes, it's we're talking about the teaching and how they integrate the technology into their education. It's very governed process.
Right. So there's a lot of regulations.
There's consistent regulations and reviewing of policies, 24/7, just to be aligned with the best practices that might happen at the international level and the national level. And that happens also with the support of other departments. We talk about the well-being of students, the data protection of students, and how they are exposed. Because as you know, once you give a mobile or tablet to a student, you are exposed to the whole work.
Yes.
And they are exposed to all. So that must be strictly governed and led by their policies, and which is happening. So you see that all the information are highly protected. There are cyber safety procedures that are taking place across the whole schools. All the systems are following the same policies, just to make sure that within the using the space of education and all the kind of technology that all the platforms that we're using, it's always governed and taking care of all students throughout the journey.
Of course, and I'm sure speaking of this, there are parents that are also very much concerned because even they are reading things online, they see how the world is also evolving. So especially when it comes to their children and what they are exposed to, I'm sure they have a lot of concerns with that.
They're having many programs that were conducted with parents.
Okay.
Programs regarding the awareness, to bring the awareness about what platforms exist,
right?
What kind of official platforms that the ministry is using for students, and how they can support into that, and how they can monitor that process in order just to make sure that the kids are safe throughout the journey.
And it's transparent.
And we always take the feedback from from not only the schools and students and the parents, and this is why the reviewing and the modification is always consistent process. So parents are extremely important part, especially now when we have this remote learning thing.
I was just going to ask, how is that affected actually? Does it change things?
It takes us back to the COVID period.
Right.
If you remember that, what was that, longer, 2 years?
Yeah.
The UAE was one of the pioneer countries that was able to keep high quality education during the COVID, having the schools inspected for academic, for the cyber safety, for all different perspectives. And what's happening now is not something new for the UAE. So all the platforms are ready. Schools are ready because we always try to have this future plan of risk assessment and what if this happens or that happens. So all the backstage things are ready.
Okay. So you understood the potential scenarios
Yeah.
and then you were ready for it. But I'm sure like during COVID time, like nobody expected
Yeah.
such a pause to happen in the world. But then, I'm sure that especially in the education industry, they adapted very quickly.
Yeah.
So how come like what was the compliance or regulations that you had to quickly overlook and overcome? I'm sure there was like trial and error methods happening there. What was that like?
Just to go back one step now, in order to lessen the risks, we always think ahead, and we always have this question of what if anything could happen. Anything could happen. It doesn't have to be it could be 1 rainy week or a storm.
Right.
It could be anything that stops kids from going to schools and believe me, there were many lessons that we've learned. And I think what happened during those few weeks of remote learning were some of the most successful experiences that we've had compared to previous. Yeah, because we were all fully prepared. Just ready for any kind of certain circumstances. Teachers were ready, students were ready.
Yeah, you need a certain level of coordination.
And we focused more on the young parents who never experienced the COVID. They haven't had kids at that time. So we give them more support. This is something that we learned to foresee what's happening. So we know that this part we need to work with. Those parents we need to support more. Those kids need to be more taken care of. From a curriculum perspective and from using approaching technology perspective.
Oh, that's very interesting. And nowadays the youth they're very dynamic. But what do you think they should actively seek? When it comes to whether it's about personality, whether it's about academics, because now I'm sure a lot of or this generation is seeing several other problems and scenarios that none of us have seen before. So what is one thing that you think that they should actively seek?
The students.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's being part of being exposed to what's happening at the national and international. And it's our job and our duty to give them the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that they need to seek for. What is happening and how do I fit in that global context? And this could help you define your role. So I always advise students to define your role, define yourself, know what you are interested in, and say it and discuss it with parents, with schools, with anyone who can give you a support. So my advice is always be open and be conscious of what you are getting from this kind of openness.
Yeah, that's true. Because the world is so open now that people might think that I don't even need to go to school anymore. Like the importance of that has lessened in their mind. But what is the thing that keeps it strong?
The school concept will change. I think it's changing. Remember,
it's
all the time.
Yeah.
What's happening now, and I remember at my time, no phones, no smart anything.
Exactly.
Nothing. It's a blackboard, it's a chalkboard.
Yeah.
And from that, we have genius people who came out. We have doctors, we have engineers,
professionals.
So it's not because it doesn't mean that if there's no technology that there will be no generation successful. It's how you integrate that, how you use that consciously within the process of learning. So there must be the interest. There must be what I want to learn. Go beyond the pages of the book. Go beyond the walls of the school. So the school is school. It's knowledge that you learn and then you practice. But it's again, we go back to the same point. How am I going to use that? How am I to define myself?
The implication.
And then to be a successful part of the community.
Definitely. And honestly, I would love to hear on a very personal note how you would leave or you would like to leave a legacy in the education sector.
I'm not very good, but I'm sensing that now. I have a close connection with my students.
Right.
Doctors, engineers, all of them. this is my success. This is truly my success. When
Wonderful.
one of my grade 4 students becomes a senior, heart surgeon or attention, something like that. This is my success. And I always, whenever I have a meeting or a conference, I always ask how many teachers you have. There must be a teacher in service. So wherever we are, whatever positions we hold, it's a teacher next to it. So when I see this is my success.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's very beautifully said. I think that's giving back as well to your community and basically seeing your knowledge and everything being passed on to many more people. Thank you so much for these lovely words. Thank you.